Hello and welcome. I'm Darren, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of new products. Now they are sim racing products. There are a couple of products that I kind of put off for a while, and well, I'll be honest. One is a sim racing definite product. The other one is not something that I'd consider as a sim racing product. So that's a bit of an interesting one. But the deeper I get into the black hole that is sim racing, the more I see, the more I look into, and some ideas come up, and new products are kind of made aware. So now the first product is something that I put off for a while, and then I was kind of in a position where it's a Moza product. Moza have been selling extremely well in the UK recently. What they're doing like in other countries, I'm not sure. I decided to... I was already kind of invested in Moza products, so I'd already made the decision that I was going to carry on with Moza products, just for ease, basically. It saves me having to buy an entire product line. Now, I know I could obviously use separate softwares and mix and match between stuff, but ideally for me, I'm already running quite a lot of software applications on the rig, and I don't really want multiple softwares for different wheelbases, different pedals, yada yada. So yeah, I'd already made that decision. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try other products. I kind of do intend to. One of them is obviously something that I will bring up in a moment. But yes, so Moza products have been selling out. There's some stuff that I was kind of interested in for a while and I was putting off. And then when the time came that I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy that product, sure enough, bet your life on it, payday comes, out of stock every time. So when I saw this product come up in stock, I jumped on it immediately, and after half an hour I was extremely happy I did. Now that doesn't mean that it's just about the product. It's kind of what the product's designed for. So obviously by the thumbnail you would have already seen the product is the SGP Sequential shifter by Moza. Now that goes for about £115 in the UK. In the US, I'm not sure what that would be. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the times I do actually notice that the US stuff seems to be priced at the same, but obviously in dollars. So £115 in the UK, it's probably there or thereabouts. $115 maybe. That's a guess. I don't know. But in the UK, £115 is generally what I see it for sale for. And it had come back in stock, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab that for when I am rally racing. So there are reasons for it. Obviously, wheel choice at the moment. I have a couple of GT3 style wheels. I have the Moza ES wheel, I believe it's called, that came with the R5 bundle. Obviously, I'm not using the R5 anymore. I'm using an R16, but I still have that wheel. I still have the R5 base unit, and I recently bought the... I'm not going to remember the name of it now. There was another... The round one. I recently bought a round one, which has buttons on it. It's got a button box on it. Has flappy paddles. And when it comes to rally racing, that is not particularly the type of wheel I like to use. It's rare that it happens, but it does happen. It has happened. It's happened to me in Wreckfest, and it's happened to me in rally games, where I am obviously allowing the wheel to rotate back through my grip and get smashed by a shifter on its way around. Now, I'm not going to say it's incredibly painful or anything, but it's not particularly nice. And depending on how obviously heavy your force feedback is, how fast your wheel returns to center, it's just not the nicest thing in the world. So I would rather race rally with a bare wheel, which is exactly what I was doing. So I was racing with a bare wheel, and I was basically racing in automatic. And I didn't mind that. I was quite enjoying racing in automatic, no problem at all. But I kind of, obviously, looking through the Moza products, I like spending money. Anything that I see is, a golden ticket to spend money. So I'd seen that Moza obviously had a sequential shifter. I think I was actually looking at buying the handbrake or the e-brake, whatever you'd like to call it, first. But then I'd tried the paddle shift steering wheel, and it's fine. You can race like that. In Wreckfest, I didn't mind it so much. In Rally, in EA Rally or Dirt 2, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I still prefer to be in automatic. So obviously, yes, long story short, the SGP shifter came up the other day. They came back in stock for a short period of time, and I grabbed one. So here we go. This is the packaging. I'm not doing an unboxing because it's already been out of the box and it's already been mounted to the rig. But there you go. That's what it all looks like. Pretty plain. Nothing exciting to see. But this is the shifter. And so far I am absolutely as happy as I could be with it. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best shifter available, because clearly it's not. There are shifters that are £300. There are shifters that are, I say £500. I don't know if there is shifters that are £500, but it wouldn't surprise me. What there is in the way cheaper, I don't know. I'm sure there is some kind of unbranded stuff that I've seen maybe floating around on Amazon. But even then, how much cheaper, I don't know. So this, as you can see, is all metal construction, apart from, obviously, there's a couple of switches, and then this, I believe, it's actually hard to say. It's good quality, put it that way, because it made me actually, I think it's plastic. It might not be. I think, I was going to say, actually, feeling how cold it feels, maybe it's not plastic. I'd have to scratch it to find out. That might be plastic. It might be aluminium. If it's plastic, it's very high quality plastic. So there we go. I probably should have tested that first before I just made a fool of myself on YouTube. But yes, now the knob is all like a knurled aluminium. As you can see, there is obviously some like grooves in it. They appear to be kind of chamfered on the edge, so they're not. Initially, I thought it feels sharp, but it's not sharp. I've kind of messed around with it a lot to see if I can kind of do any skin damage to my hands, and I've not been able to, so that's fine. There's nothing there that's caught me or given me any damage. Now I do work with my hands, so they're not the babiest of hands, but no, I don't see a problem with that. Obviously, this does unscrew, so you could fit a aftermarket one. I kind of thought when I ordered it, maybe I'd like to, because in the pictures it didn't look like it was going to be that appealing, but in the flesh it's actually like a very, very good quality, so I was actually very happy with that when I unboxed it. Obviously you can see it's kind of got this machined, obviously painted black or anodized black. It's got this kind of machined chamfer on it, which is kind of like quite a nice clean look. Now there is a section here that you can, obviously Allen key that comes with it, you can fit the Allen key in here and you can tighten it or loosen it, which will change the tension on the shifter. So at the moment I've got it kind of somewhere in between. You can hear it's got a very nice positive. Now you can tighten that all the way up and it will be very, very tight, and it will slow down how quickly it will release backwards, or you can loosen it right off and then it will be obviously easier to pull. I don't think it actually, I did loosen it off quite a bit, and I don't think it actually gets like crazy easy to pull. There's obviously still some tension there, but obviously it will then return. The easier it is to pull, the faster it will be to return. Obviously, the more tension it then puts on the spring to return. So it's noisy. I don't mind that. In fact, I quite like that. But that's one thing that you'd have to be aware of. What there is in the way of, I don't, like I said, this isn't particularly a product review. I've never tried anything to review it against. This is just my initial impressions taken out of the box. So it is noisy. I race with headphones on. If you were in a room with someone that you might annoy by making a lot of noise, yeah, you're going to annoy them with this. You really are, because as you can hear, it is not quiet, and you're going to be, when you're rallying, you're doing that a lot. So it is noisy. When I'm racing with headphones on, it's perfect because it's enough that you hear it. You feel it, so it's not like you have to hear it, but I find it quite nice to hear it. Because that's kind of, to me, what this is all about. I didn't buy this so much to try and improve or to make myself faster or anything like that. This was a product I bought purely for immersion. And that is exactly what it gave me. Kind of, I think I loaded up like Dirt Rally 2 because I wanted to try and I wanted to check that this was something that was available. Was obviously I was able to do. This obviously little lever here is basically, it's just a button. So there's obviously like a little switch in there. So this is a mappable button. And I wanted to check if I could map this so I could pull it with my pinky and use it as a handbrake. And I managed to do that in Dirt 2, which is extremely handy because obviously at Dirt 2 you need to have the handbrake held to start. So that actually works really well. Obviously you can just hold that down, wait for the green light, let go, and off you go. So that is really good. That's actually worked out perfect. And it's kind of, I don't know, immersion wise, I probably will still buy the handbrake or the e-brake, but I'm not in a rush to go and buy it now because that works really well. Now, obviously, coming up to a hairpin turn, it's not going to give you the same immersion as what you would get if you were using a handbrake or e-brake, whatever you want to call it. But it's still usable, so you can just pull that and hey-ho, you've got a handbrake. As if you'd have a button that you were using on your steering wheels as a handbrake. You also have, which is really handy, these two buttons. So as I said, obviously you can see, I don't know if it's going to show up in the camera. Unfortunately, I'm not using autofocus because in this kind of lit room, it turns into a bit of a nightmare and it will just chase forever. So there is a couple of buttons there, which I'm not sure. Yeah, so you can see one's labelled like S1, one's labelled S2. They're very similar to like the buttons that you get on the steering wheels on the Moza products. They're a little bit squishy. It's fine, that doesn't bother me. Those are actually really handy, again, in Dirt 2. So Dirt 2 and EAWRC, I managed to use this as a handbrake, and I think in both games I set up like a reset, so if you go off track and you're in a nasty place, obviously there's reset that's available in both those games. So I managed to use one of these as a reset, which was handy, and then I think I used just pause on the other button, which is a handy thing to have. Obviously, like I said, so I'm running this, and I'm running it alongside the oh God, I can't think of the brand now. Simagic. The Simagic wheel that I bought the other day, obviously attached to a Moza quick release, which is, I think Simagic used the exact same one. It's the NRG style quick release, awesome quick release. So yeah, this wheel and that shifter in rally, absolute game changer for me. Like, immersion, it took me, I was surprised. I'm not the best racer in the world rallying. I don't play rally games that much. GT3 is kind of my main racing. So the one thing that I did do not long ago was in EA WRC when the new updates came. I spent a little bit of time on the new Poland map, and specifically on like the first track, and I spent quite a lot of time trying to get my fastest time down and looking through like the world leaderboards to see where I could get to. So I'd been racing that, and I obviously had my fastest Ghost on that. Now, to my absolute surprise, within my third go, I managed to knock off 10 seconds whilst making a huge error and having to reset by using this over driving automatic. And that I didn't expect, because it is a bit of a learning curve if you're not used to it. Now, if you're used to it, obviously no problem. But if you are used to driving automatic, suddenly having this to figure out, it's something else that's going on in your head. And when you're not used to rallying, like I don't play rallying that much, it's quite a busy, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of accelerator, brake, and a lot of kind of wheel setup, getting your car set up to obviously position yourself into the next corner, getting your nose in, getting turned in before the corner. There's a lot going on in your head if you're not really used to rallying. So throwing this in as well, I thought was going to be a bit of a nightmare. And I amazed myself because, yeah, I knocked 10 seconds off my time, and I actually had to that was with having to reset to track, versus what I thought was actually a fast running automatic. So, yeah, love it. Immersion, amazing. I was lost in a complete zone, thinking that I'm actually rallying. You know what I mean? It just took it to the next level. So anyone on the fence thinking, I might pick up one of those at any time, I'd suggest you do. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Like I said, how this compares to other products, I have no idea. I would not expect this to be the best sequential shifter. It is by far not the most expensive, so that would be stupid for me to think that, but it does everything that I need it to do, and I don't really care what the best is as long as this offers me everything I need. So that's fine. Obviously there is connectivity, so there is the RJ, I think it's called the RJ11, which is like a Ethernet connector. Now, if you are running like I am a Moza wheelbase, then you can just run that one cable to the back of the wheelbase. There is a plug in the back of the wheelbase which will tell you it's for a sequential shifter, and that is all you need. At that point, you will find that this will automatically configure itself in the Moza pit house. It will tell you that it's found a new product, and then you're good to go. So there's not a great deal that you can do in the Moza pit house with it. Obviously, it's a very straightforward product. You can change the LED light color for these switches. Other than that, I think there was obviously a reverse option. So depending on if you want back to be upshift or downshift, and then obviously you can reverse that action. But obviously most games is going to give you the choice to do that in the in-game settings anyway. But obviously if there's a game that won't allow that. Now if you're not using a Moza wheelbase, then it does come with a USB A to B, B to A, I believe, one of those. So obviously that will connect in here and then connect to your PC, and then obviously you'll have to run the software to your PC. And then other than that, it comes with obviously some mounting bolts, just some like Allen key mounting bolts with some washers, 4 of those. Comes with the Allen key for those bolts, and it's the same Allen key that you use to adjust the tension on it. And then it comes with some spanners, because you can, as you can see, There are some, if I can actually get it to show up, there's some bolts here, nuts and bolts. So you can loosen those off and you can raise the shaft taller. I'm not actually sure how much adjustment there is in the way of that, but I haven't tried it. You're going to get to about here if you want to, I'd imagine. I can't see why not. I'd imagine you're going to be able to go. So there's definitely a hole there. You're going to be able to put that one. There's no point me guessing. It might show a picture in the instructions. It doesn't. So no, it'd be guesswork, but you're going to get some height adjustment on it. For me in the sim rig, I haven't had to do that. This is actually for where I've got it positioned. Obviously, it's sat up relatively high, so it's perfect where it is. It's fine. So yes, that is the first product. Love it. Been perfect. I haven't used it a massive amount, so there's no kind of long-term. Do I have any problems with it? There's loads of reviews out there. These people are going to give you far better information. They're going to give you better information about whether there's better products available. I did watch a couple of the reviews before I bought it. One thing that was said in one of the reviews, it wasn't mentioned in one. I think it was the negative, the only negative that could be found. And it was something to do with the spring in this lever. It's not really showing up there because it's against my computer, but obviously, yes. So this lever here. Now, there was something that was said in one of the reviews that I watched about the spring being like incredibly light and it being very slow to return. I don't seem to have that problem. So as you can see, it's very springy. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's kind of... I'd say it's a bit heavier than the trigger pull on a Xbox controller. Yeah, it's definitely heavier. Not a huge amount heavier, but it's... No, in fact, in fairness, it is a bit heavier than that. It is quite a bit heavier. So you can feel yourself doing it, and return is very fast. To be honest, I can see the spring in there. If I wanted to, if I found it a problem, I'd unscrew it, source a stronger spring or stretch the spring, whatever I wanted to do. And I would fix it that way. It would not be a make or break thing for me. Everything other than that, put it on, plugged it in, found it straight away, configured it, went into the game, set it up, raced. Loved it. So immersion wise, awesome. For the money, when you're kind of spending, obviously, if you're like me, spending crazy amounts of money on sim gear, this is a relatively cheap product that gives you quite a lot back. It kind of goes hand in hand with like the other, like I'm very a immersion. I'm not the fastest driver at sim racing. I don't have a huge amount of experience in sim racing. I do it because I enjoy it. And kind of one of the biggest things that I enjoy about sim racing is the immersion. So any product that offers me extra immersion is a big win for me. And it kind of goes into the same kind of category as like a base shaker or, you know, your kind of, you know, your butt kicker, base shakers, those type of things that will offer you that kind of haptic feedback. Now, I use one on my sim rig. I use it for gear shift. So I get kind of a thud of a gear shift, like the bass thud of it, that will vibrate through my sim rig. Basically, it's underneath my seat, so it will vibrate, you know, it'll give me that kind of thud as I change gear, and it will obviously resonate through the back of the seat. It does obviously find its way in through the aluminium profile rig as well. I love that, and I also use it for engine vibration. So obviously, as you're driving up and down the rev range, engine vibration changes. That just slowly vibrating into the rig is a huge immersion thing. If there is any point where I start racing and for some reason, maybe because of an update or something, the sim hubs that I use for that doesn't launch. I would have to stop the race and launch that, because without it, I now feel I'm used to it. It's a huge bonus in immersion. If that's missing, then I miss it, and I can straight away tell you that this would be in the same category. Instantly, I wouldn't want to go back to automatic now. On the Simagic wheel, obviously I did a video where I picked that up not long ago. Awesome. That's actually a really nice wheel, really comfortable. Was racing that with that yesterday. Obviously a relatively inexpensive, I say inexpensive, I mean, you can obviously find cheaper, probably in the US, obviously definitely in the UK, you can buy cheaper branded wheels of this style. You're going to get them a bit cheaper. You're probably still going to be paying like around 50 or 60 pounds for them. I think this was about 90 for a Simagic branded one, but I think it's a 330mm, just a plain round wheel with obviously some Alcantara, suede, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, awesome. That and that for rally racing, awesome. Loved it. Now, second product that turned up, and this is a bit of a different thing, is the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, I was kind of toying with one of these for content creation. And I was looking at I think it's the Plus one, which has obviously volume control and blah, but I've noticed in sim racing, this is now quite a thing where people are using these. So as you can see, I can only really show you by this, the Stream Deck has buttons that have like a screen on them. So rather than having to put stickers on a button, you have how it works, I have no idea, but you have changeable screens. Now, I've started getting more into, I moved into the LFM in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and that consists now of 45-minute races with a compulsory pit stop. But not only that. Now, my first race in LFM, which was the 45-minute with the compulsory pit stop one, it happened to start raining after lap 2, which caused huge commotion for me. And it also started getting dark. So I was in a massive panic trying to find or remember the button that I had mapped on my steering wheel for A, my windscreen wipers, and for B, my lights. I then found myself in a huge mess trying to go through the buttons on my wheel while trying to concentrate racing other people without trying to make any contact with any other cars, or you will lose points, whilst trying to stray on the track. And it was not a great experience. So I noticed that a lot of people are using button boxes in their setup, which is effectively what this will be used for. So I will be obviously in a situation where I will be able to bring up a picture of like a windscreen wiper, map that to one of the buttons, and then obviously map that to the windscreen wiper in something like Assetto Corsa Competizione, and then at the press of the button I will be able to see that is for the windscreen wiper, press that button, hey presto, not fumbling around on my wheel, crashing and doing bad stuff. So I've used Elgato products before, exactly what they say on the tin. No, I haven't had a bad Elgato product. Packaging's great, so there you see in the packaging comes like this. Now, one thing that I wasn't sure, obviously, as you can see, the buttons are just bare, because what shows up on them is obviously a image. So that's the good thing. So obviously at any point I can put, say, program that one and bring up a picture of a wiper on it, and then if I want to change it, I'm not having to like take stickers off or do anything crazy. I can just change it for anything else. I believe I can probably use a button on here which will then open up more different layouts. So I could have a layout for ACC, I can have a layout for Dirt Rally, I can have a layout for Automobilista 2 or anything like that, and have different layouts by using a one button to switch between different layouts for different games. Now what I wasn't sure when I was purchasing this, because I couldn't really find, I mean, admittedly I didn't watch, I was supposed to watch some product videos and I didn't, and it probably tells you in the product videos, but I wasn't sure about the kind of stand, as you can see, that's with it, and I was kind of struggling to think how the hell I'm going to mount that to a sim rig. But this does actually just pop off, so that is just a stand, and as you can see, the unit itself has more of a, it's not a perfectly flat back, but it's obviously a lot thinner. Try and show that in the camera. So there is a USB-C connector in the back, you can see shining there, just here. And yeah, I managed to, I don't have it, it's connected to the rig, I'm not about to unbolt it. I did manage to find, I think I actually purchased it through Amazon. I have seen this person make stuff and sells it on eBay, like a 3D printed holder, which obviously holds this unit, and it has a adjustable arm and a part where it will connect to an aluminium profile rig. That's bolted on the rig at the moment. This is basically, that only just came in the post a couple of hours ago, so I haven't had a time to set this up yet. But that is the idea for this, and I think that this is going to be huge. I mean, this isn't cheap. Okay, this is like, I think it was about £150. Now, obviously, I'm VAT free, so it was maybe £120 to me. But this is kind of a, not cheap, kind of a bit of a luxury thing in the way of what I intend to use it for. However, when I'm trying to make inroads in more like competitive racing, I think that this is going to be a bit of a game changer for me, to be able to have this, you know, in a situation where it's easily viewable, it's alongside my steering wheel. Instead of trying to figure out buttons on my steering wheel, I'll have a illuminated, like I say, windscreen wiper or flasher. I'll probably actually have some like map a couple to be like arrows, so I'll have more like a D-pad and maybe a select in the middle, so I can bring up the in-game menu for like pit stops, and I'll be able to just scroll through it, and I think that'll be a little bit easier than trying to use like the toggle buttons on the steering wheel and trying to do that on a steering wheel whilst looking at the menu on the game. I think this will be a lot better. I'm not quite sure exactly how many buttons I'm gonna, or what buttons I'm gonna use to map it to, but once I get that figured out, I'll probably do a video on it, and you know, maybe give my point of view of whether it was actually worth me spending the £150, if it did make that much of a difference, or if sticking with the steering wheel, this didn't really make that much difference. Hopefully I'll get my money's worth and it will make a big difference, but how big a difference that is it £150 different maker? I don't know. Probably not, I'm going to say. If you've got the money to burn, you're going to say yes. If £150 is a lot of money to you and you've got a lot more important things to do with it, then you're probably going to say no. Now that's obviously, like I said, Elgato stuff's pretty straightforward. There's a box in here, there's a USB-C in here and an instruction kit, and obviously that's just going to tell you to download the software for it, and the software will have, as with all the other Elgato stuff that I have used, the software will come with tutorials. They'll be on their website, there'll be video tutorials telling you how to use that product. So those are my two products. And And I've actually been speaking for 35 minutes about 2 products, which I thought was going to be a 10-minute video at best. But never mind, it is what it is. So, yeah, like I said, it's just 2 sim racing products. I thought it's not a review. I'm not saying these are the best products. I'm not saying they're the worst products. This is just a case of I've purchased them, I've opened them up, I've tried this one. I haven't, obviously, this one I'm yet to use, but I've given you the purpose I've obviously purchased it for. This one I have used, I've loved it. I don't want to go back to never using it again. That's it for me now. Rally racing, sequential shifter all the way, love it. Bare wheel, I much prefer a bare wheel. So, that's 2 products. Obviously, if anything comes up, if this suddenly falls apart, I don't see it happening. It's full metal construction. It's pretty weighty. I can't see that being an issue. Obviously, if there is any issues, I will follow that up and give anyone a warning. Do not buy this because it's bad, but I don't see that happening. And yeah, I'll leave it there. If you have anything that you need to ask, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to obviously give any advice that I can. What I can't do is compare it to other products. That's not what I am about. I haven't used other products, so I'm never going to say these are better products because that would be really dumb and I just wouldn't do that. But as far as it goes, they're 2 products that so far, good for me. So I'm going to leave it there and I will catch you in the next one.